Ranger Reject 152 is absolutely insane. So much information confirmed, D hits his breaking point, and the return of our favorite keeper. It doesn't really get much better than this, so let's dive in and discuss everything that happens this chapter and what it implies for the future of this series. As a reminder, if you're a fan of Ranger Reject, this is the channel for you, so feel free to like and subscribe. Ranger Reject 152 starts with D getting completely obliterated by the newly transformed Alzome. The interesting part about this is that it doesn't kill D, he's able to fully regenerate from it. If we look back to their first fight, Alzome is the reason that D lost his leg in the first place. She was able to actually hurt him with her buffed up arms, but now she can't. That brings up the question of what exactly changed. With the later confirmation, we learn from Yellow that invaders are made from humans. We'll discuss this later, but the key point here is that divine weapons are able to kill invaders, but once a human turns because of a divine weapon, they are unable to kill the invaders. Could this be something to keep them from infighting? Basically, they can't technically turn on each other since they can't finish each other off, keeping the Ranger Force in the heroic position. The fight, however, continues, and as Alzome is about to begin torturing D, we finally get the return of the Chocobo fusion, which is still just the coolest character design ever. Freeing D, they begin to fight Alzome, leaving Sakurama and D with a chance to discuss everything that's happening. Unfortunately, as Sakurama is making a few conclusions out of the situation, their conversation is interrupted by Yellow. As Sakurama questions him, we get direct confirmation from Yellow's mouth that the invaders are in fact created from humans and that the divine dragons have the ability to warp reality. Later in this chapter, this is explained a bit more, but it makes you question just how powerful the divine weapons are and how the Ranger Force came into possession of that power. We do, however, learn that the surgery that the Keepers get are to allow humans to use multiple divine weapons. If they are wielded by someone who doesn't have the surgery, they become an invader. Let's slow down on that point though, because there's something else to address here. While on the surface it may look like Alzome was only using one divine weapon power, we've seen her use two abilities and we've seen a third from someone else. If you recall, Alzome received this power by using Usukubo's divine replica. Usukubo's divine replica uses a power that looks just like Yellow's arrows, which may be why he reacted the way that he did when she defended D in this chapter. Alzome's arm growth could be attributed to Sukuna Bikono no Kami, Chidori's ability that allows him to grow, and then she uses Umibozu. It's completely possible that Usukubo's divine replica allows her to utilize multiple of the divine weapon's powers, but as of right now, Usukubo only uses one. We'll talk about that bit more in a second. Sakurama confirms that the Neo Rangers have two collaborators, and we see a panel showing Sosei and a mysterious character who has their back turned to us. Sakurama tells Yellow that they are both someone that he knows and tells him that the Sosei clone they tried to get rid of, but doesn't say who the second one is. On first glance, you might think he's referring to himself, but honestly that doesn't look like Sakurama's head from the back. His hair is typically more spiky, and he has a little alfalfa strand of hair sticking up on the top. With that being said, who is this mysterious collaborator? I know I theorized before that it could be Wendy helping them, but they don't have the headpiece on in that picture. I'm assuming it's someone from Yellow or the Kuroko, since it's most likely the person who gets the Neo Rangers their divine weapons. Could it be one of the characters that was in Beilong's nest with D? I guess we'll have to wait until that eventual reveal. One of the biggest parts of this chapter, however, alludes back to the Phantom script. The Dragon Keepers, the Ranger Force, and the Invaders are all a part of a story created by Guji Productions. This tells us something though. Yellow isn't at the top of the food chain. He's actively helping with the show, but he isn't in control of it. How though are they able to control the actions of all three of those parties in order to fit within their narrative? Is this a part of the power of the divine weapons? You'd assume that if they have the ability to warp reality, controlling such a large amount of people is possible. However, this leads into Yellow getting ready to take out D, but Usukubo jumps in to save him. This is what I was talking about earlier though. Yellow says, "Dear me, that power is," and then stops. I feel like there's a lot more going on with Usukubo's divine replica. This, however, means that she might be in danger. As mentioned earlier, wielding multiple weapons is dangerous. What if that feeling of losing herself is her beginning to turn into an invader, only being held back by Yuli Moreta inside of her. It's something to think about, but this might be a huge red flag for Usukubo. I, however, think my favorite parts of this chapter is D's reaction to all of the information he's learned, and I'm going to rant a bit. I've seen a lot of people complain about D's character. They say that he's the weakest part of the story because he doesn't have any motivations, but I find this asinine. We are constantly reminded of D's motivations. What we see, though, is basically a young child or teenager who's been sheltered, experiencing the world for the first time. Of course he's confused. This part specifically really solidifies how great of a character D is, though. How can you not sympathize with D's story and how it's all about him breaking free? Which makes this revelation for him so crushing. No matter what D has done, he's never been free, and every decision he's made has been a part of someone else's script. It's absolutely devastating, and seeing how he reacts to it just makes it hit that much harder. Rant over though. The chapter ends with Papa Chidori finally showing up in the story, and he seems to have learned quite a bit since the last time we saw him, telling D that it's time for them to put an end to this botched script. And I really hope we're going to get a scene like Yuji and Nanami versus Mahito. I just need to see D and Chidori absolutely jumping yellow. That man has had it coming for a long time. That's it. Those are the events of chapter 152, and now I'm impatiently waiting for 153. There were a lot of reveals, and I feel like we're super close to getting a lot of conclusive answers before we get hit by another huge twist. On that note though, it's question time. Nitrox Undead asks, will the other Neo Rangers get costumes? You know, I'm still confused about that myself. I believe that as a whole their group is the Neo Rangers, but only Shippo, Runa, and Sakurama are General Knights, which is why they have outfits. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. Ivan Solo Yankin asked, is Aozome gone? From this chapter, it does look like she's retained her personality and hatred for D, so I wonder how much this actually affects the humans who turn if she's the same character. With that being said, why don't the other invaders remember being human? I'm going to paraphrase, but Exodian9012 asked basically what's going on with the Phantom script. We really don't know. The Phantom script is still a mystery, but it actually looks like we might get some information about that in the next chapter, or at least within the next few chapters. Black Fox asks, do you think H. Sui is the rat, dog, or boar executive? I am still confused about this. I asked for clarification, but did not get any, so I'll make assumptions. I'm going to assume H. Sui is Hisui, and that you're asking, no, that doesn't make sense. I don't know, man. Please help. That, however, is all for this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask away in the comments and I'll feature them on the next video. If you have any cool or interesting theories, I'll start adding those to videos as well, depending on how good I think they are. As always, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. Otherwise, peace.